Yishem Adonai Mevarach Matav Hashem's name will be blessed forever and ever. Today, B'ezras Hashem, continue with Netilat Yadayim. We have more very interesting topics to discuss today. First class is about Netilat Yadayim number 4. Second class will discuss the gate of truth, B'ezras Hashem. We mentioned before the class about the guy that built the synagogue and the girls' synagogue. So it reminded me a joke about a guy that was found on an island after he had to abandon the ship sunk, and years later they found him, and the captain on the ship see from a distance big buildings. So he asked him, "What is these 2 buildings?" He said, "Oh, thanks for saving me. God bless you. These is 2 synagogues." He said, "How many people on the island?" He said, "It's only me." He said, "Why you have it into 2 synagogues?" He said, "What do you mean? One I go and the other one I'm never going to go." You always have to have a place that says, "I'm not going to go there. I can't stand these people." Anyways, can you tell her that I'm in a class? Today we are going to discuss a few things about the Netilat Yadayim, amount of water required. This is very short, brief, and the next one will be chatzitza, things that are blocking from our hands to be fully covered with water. What's going to be the case? Sorry?
How do you say it?
Chatzitza. Yes, תודה רבה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהכל נהיה בדברו. So, people see in different houses, they have in their home different containers, okay? Different size of vessels they use. So they want to know, maybe this one for the regular day, this one can be for Shabbat. Which one I take for Shabbat? The bigger one, or the one that has the better design, or I can use I'm using the same one for the whole week. Does it make any difference? What's the minimum amount required to wash hands? This is our most important question today. We know the minimum, everything above that, it's extra. Huh? Okay. So, Yafa, this is number 4, right? Class number 4? I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's 3? So I'll change it later on the title. So our sages institute that in order to perform the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim, one must have a container filled with at least revi'it of water. Remember the amount we drank for Pesach? 86. The very small amount, 86, right? 86, 81 cc. Yeah. Man, it's less than 3 ounces. Right. It's very, very little. That's the minimum amount required to wash the hands. Whether one pours the water onto both hands at once or onto one after another, all that is needed is a revi'it of water, this amount, less than 3 ounces. If more water are available, however, it is commendable to use plenty of water for Netilat Yadayim, as explained above in Shimon 158:20. We discussed that in 158:20. I want to remind you, it was with Rav Chizda, about the significance of using a lot of water, and that will bring blessing to make such effort. Today there is no excuse. Today it's easy. You go to the faucet, you open it, you fill up the cup, you're good to go. Now Chizda says in the Talmud he lived till 92. And back then, living that old, they didn't have medicines like we have today, hospitals and so forth and so on. Back then people average was, I think, around 60, 70 and even below. And these guys lived, thank God, till the age of 92, and he was also very, very rich. All of a sudden one day he was very poor, and one day he became very wealthy. So the students asked him, it was not rude, they want to know, Rabbi, what's the trick? What's the secret? So Rabbi says, the Tractate Shabbat relates to that Rav Chizda declared, I washed with fistfuls, an expression meaning an abundant amount of water, and they, heaven, right, Give me fistfuls of good things. When performing the mitzvah, however, one's intention should be to honor God by fulfilling his mitzvah, and not for the sake of becoming wealthy. We are not supposed to perform mitzvah for the sake of their reward. But if someone make efforts every time you wash the hands to pour a cup full of water, it brings abundance of blessing to you. So we can see with these little tricks that our sage is teaching us can bring upon ourselves beracha. And these things are so accessible, they're so easy, they're really close to us. Okay, so we've learned that the minimum amount, in case you have more, you should make efforts to do so. Now, what if I have 2 small cups? Should they be in 2 cups or one all in 1 cup? This minimum amount is necessary for this revi'it of water is to be held in a single container. One may not fill a container with half of revi'it, pour it on his hand, and then fill it with another half revi'it. Okay? If he did so, his hands are impure as they were before. He has to put it in one hand. Okay. What about, there's any difference between washing hands to an adult or a child? So the halacha says that whether one has large hands or small hands, he must use container holding a revi'it of water to perform the Netilat Yadayim. So it's the small foam cup, half of it, it's the minimum amount to wash the hand. Okay, let's finish here and move to the next one. It's called Hatzitza. 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 When performing the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim, one must make sure that there is nothing constituting a hatzitza on the hands. Hatzitza meaning something that blocks the hands. For example, who can give me an example? What can block the hands from getting wet? Gloves. Ring maybe. Huh? Long sleeves all the way up. What else?
Nails painted. Fingernails.
You're talking about now mikveh thinking. This is another question.
Yeah. Cream.
Bandage is a good example. Cast, God forbid. Any type of bandage, big one over the hand. I think pretty much this could be the chatzitza. So when performing the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim, one must make sure that there is nothing constituting of a chatzitza on the hands. Anything that would constitute a chatzitza is to disqualify the act of immersion in a mikveh, disqualifies the act of Netilat Yadayim as well. So Lishama mentioned the what do you call the nail polish, right?
Yeah.
It's not really the finger. There's a cover, thick cover over it. But you see a woman going with,
nail.
huh?
The artificial nail.
The artificial nail or the
natural nail also.
So what you would do, because we know the halacha is when a woman go to a mikveh, she clean up, even she would. According to Sephardi, if it's really all the way in, and I'm not going to go through the whole halacha, it's not necessary. She can leave it because it become part of the finger already. Same with the glued one. Okay, but in case that some of it already gone, she should consult with a rebbitzin. They'll tell her what to do. Or the balanit. Balanit is the lady that she's in charge, and she should know all the halachot. Therefore, if any substance constitutes a chatzitza again is a block, is something that, if I put here, for example, a screen, it's called chatzitza between you and I. Okay? Okay, so therefore, if any substance constitutes a chatzitza on someone's hands and he does not wish that it remain there permanently, it prevents him from performing Netilat Yadayim, even if it covers a very small portion of his hands. Likewise, if the substance covers most of the surface area of his hands, it prevents him from performing the mitzvah, even if he does not mind it remaining there permanently. If the substance covers less than half of the surface area of the hand, and he does not mind it remaining there permanently, it does not constitute an halachic chatzitza, a block, a gap between them. He is not obligated to remove it at all. We'll see, I'll give you more examples in a minute. Because sometimes people have a bandage. You expect them to remove the bandage for washing his hands? What's the expectation? What about a cast? Should you remove the cast? Some casts are more permanent. Some are with Velcro, are easy to remove. What the halacha?
But those are not called casts.
So how they called?
Mobilized brace.
Yeah.
So cast is only referred to the... Okay. Right. Okay. So let's talk about fingernails. Even if someone's fingernails are overgrown, they do not constitute a chatzitza for the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim, as long as they are clean. Regarding a woman emerging in the mikveh, the custom is to make sure that the fingernails and toenails are cut short for fear that there might be some dirt stuck underneath the nail. For the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim, however, there is no such custom. It will be highly impractical to have to trim one's fingernails daily in order to fulfill the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim. So for that time, it's good. Just to share with you something from the Kabbalah, it's not recommended to have long fingernails at all, men and women, because the sitra achra, the other force, attach itself to you through the fingernails. And from which part, what's the limit? So I think we discussed that before. Anytime the fingernails go over this pillow, I don't know what you're going to call this part, the pillow, should be cut, should be trimmed. Sometimes you can see a man when they have a very long hair. Leave it for scratches or hair. This is not recommended. Other force can attach themselves, and that's what they do. Sometimes it's called sitra achra. It's the... You told them. It's about the other force that lives with us, that was created when Hashem created the world. Huh?
Evil force?
Evil force, exactly. There was a tzaddik, there's a tzaddik that is required to grow his nail. Who is tzaddik that is required to grow his nail? Either shochet for this purpose, or kohen in the Beit HaMikdash. They have to do melika. Melika, they will go from the back of the neck of the bird, and they have a very strong fingernail. It was one of the hardest jobs in the Beit HaMikdash. And they would kill the bird, not a regular shechita, but from its neck with the finger. It was very strong. They know how to do it. These kind of people were allowed to grow the fingernail. And anything that is used for a mitzvah, obviously there is no harm in it. Okay? I remember as a child, I still remember it till today. I think it was way before my bar mitzvah. I'm in that shul. I grew my finger big. I saw an adult doing it, so I was imitating them. And Rabbi Israel Sharabi, he passed away a few years ago. He called me after we come for Shabbat Shalom. And then he said to me, "Oh, I didn't know that you were a Kohen." And I didn't understand what he's saying. And my father is laughing. Okay. In the morning again, Shabbat Shalom. "Oh, you're a Kohen, but you didn't do Birkat Kohanim today." So I said, "For God's sake, what is he talking about?" I was embarrassed to ask, "Abba, what's the meaning of Kohen?" He knows that we're not the Kohanim. And the Kohanim was sitting in a very special area in our shul. It was the Kohanim's section. So Abba what it says. And then I learned about, that was the Dvar Torah on Shabbat Teva. I still remember it till today. That the Rebbe knew to find a way to tell me, take it out without, embarrassing me. It was a very nice one. Anyways, nevertheless, the Kabbalists have taught us that the practice of allowing the fingernails to grow long is damaging to one's spiritual health. It enables the force of evil to latch into the person's souls and to leech his spiritual strength, like leeches, right? Beside this, it is proper to trim one's fingernails each Friday in honor of Shabbat. L'chaim. Okay. So I'm going to skip this halacha. It's pretty long. I'm just telling you that the halacha says in a nutshell that you have to make sure that your fingernails underneath the fingernails should be always clean. People have a lot of dirt or mud from work, whatever. Make sure it's always, and those who have short fingernail have no problems. What about a woman or a man? Doesn't matter. People that need making dough, right?
Yeah, the nails should be
And the nail under the nails they get stuck with dough or flour or whatever. It's from the cooking. From the preparing food. If dough is attached anywhere on fingernails, it is a chatzitza. It's a block. Since most people would mind it remaining there. Even for you, it's bothering you when you remove it. So this means it's not something you're comfortable with to have permanently. What if someone has, let me just read it. If someone's fingertips is infected and swollen, making it painful to dig out the dirt that is under the fingernails, then only the dirt that is visible when looking at the nails on underside is chatzitza. Any dirt that is between the fingertips and the nail is not chatzitza, since no one mind leaving the dirt there in such a situation.
It's like an ingrown.
Could be, yeah. There's a way to remove the ingrown, Yeah. We learn. I was as a paramedic in the army. We learn how to remove this type, because these little things can make a person to stay and can't even walk. If it's growing back to the flesh, it's so painful, it's unbelievable. I don't want to scare or discuss you, but when you want to torture someone, the evil people, when they want to torture people, especially the Germans and the Nazis, they could use, what do you call this, the toothpick. Toothpick. See this toothpick? Just toothpick. This little one. I'm going to make you talk. Hold the hand and just think about pushing one like this under one fingernail. I don't want to scare you, but the pain is unbearable.
I know.
With this, I can make you talk. Don't need to have heavy torture tools. Yeah. We have nerves. We have very sensitive nerves. Everybody now holding. Oh my God, what is he talking about? Let's move on. Okay. If a finger is partially split across its width, so that that part of the nail is separated from the rest of the nail, that portion of the nail is not a chatzitza, whether it is a small portion of the nail or a major portion of it. Even so, it is recommended to trim the nail and make it even whenever any part of it has become split in this manner. When we're talking about taking care of the Netilat Yadayim, it's only the hands, nothing to do with the legs. The legs is for the mikveh, so you have to do both. Mikveh, we won't dip people dipping themselves. Now, most common question about women women grow long fingernails. If a woman grows long fingernails and applies fingernails polish to them, it is not at all necessary for her to remove the polish in order to perform the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim. The fingernail polish is not a chatzitza, since it covers only a minor portion of her hand, and she does not mind leaving it there permanently. This applies only when the fingernails are properly manicured and polished. If some of the polish has worn off and the nail is only partially covered, the remaining polish is a chatzitza, since she would not wish to leave it in this condition permanently. She must remove all the polish from her fingernails or polish the damaged fingernails again. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think we discussed that. Oh, what about hine? You know hine?
Yeah.
The mark that they put.
Married. 15.
David, are you going to do hine, Bezat Hashem, when you'll get married?
I'm not married yet.
I'm saying when, Bezat Hashem. You're Sephardi, no? Okay. So, huh?
אתה מחתן?
כן. אני טוב שמחתם פה את הזוגות. לא, אבל חינה זה, it's not, it's before the wedding, it's a few days before. So, if a woman colored her hands with henna, it is not chatzitza regarding Netilat Yadayim or regarding immersion in the mikveh, since the color penetrates the skin and dyes it. It is not covering on the skin to constitute a chatzitza.
Hair color?
Yes, it's a good example. It's become part of the body, part of the hair, but no, it's not.
I have a question.
Yes.
If the person doesn't have hands and uses his feet to do everything, is there such a thing? So like Netilat Yadayim or something like that?
I'm sure there is. I didn't see this in the halacha, but you have to wash at least whatever touched the food needs to be washed. And who needs to wash the hands? The one that eats. If someone has no hands and someone else feeding him, so he has nothing to wash. Okay. But if someone is sick and someone else feeding him, the one who needs to wash is the one who eats, not the one who feeds him. Okay. But if he doesn't have hands, there's nothing. The hands, God forbid, doesn't have anything to wash. If he uses his own legs, because people train to do that, and they maintain life, they can even drive that way. So I believe that we have to wash the hands. The question is if you have to do beracha. So I would say we'd come without the beracha, especially when the beracha says about netilat yadayim, washing hands. This is not hands, but if this is act like he says, I think he is exempt from beracha.
Vegetable patient.
I'm sorry. Oh, vegetable patient. So he's not being fed. He has a tube.
No, like you put food in their mouth, so you don't wash their hands?
No, it's not mandatory for the one who feeds him to wash the hands. Only the one who eats. We'll see it Bezat Hashem. Maybe not today. We have 3 or 4 more minutes for today. Let's talk about rings. Rings. Anyone who wears a ring, some men wearing ring as well. That's another question if this is permissible by the halacha for men to wear a ring. Back then, many great people wore ring. They use it as a stamp. Signal of some, but it's a family, or they were in high position, they have to use it. Some wear it for beauty. Well, you don't see religious people actually. Today there's a trend that people that are getting married, he give her a ring and she wants to give him a ring. He marry me, I'll marry him. Well, you're not marrying him, he's marrying you. But this is for another time. I get this request I got this request a few times. Can I give him a ring too? Under the chuppah. So if you ever ask something like that, and my grandfather, something like that, immediately you get a punch in the face, and the father says, "What's going on?" But what I tell the people is we have no problem, but you can do it after the chuppah. You can give him a ring, you can give him whatever you want.
It's not part of the ceremony.
No, it's not part of the ceremony, because the husband he is taking the wife. He's making that acquiring. He's acquiring her. She's not him. She's not marrying him. He's marrying her. As the Torah says, "Ki yikach ish isha," when a man takes a woman. Okay, so anyone who wears a ring on his hand, on his or her finger, must remove it in order to perform the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim. Even if the rings fits loosely on the finger. This is where you go to religious homes, you see all of a sudden an exhibition of I forgot my ring, I forgot my this. They do it automatically for Netilat Yadayim. They have to remove, otherwise it's called chatzitza. It's blocking between the hand.
So it's good we don't pay ring.
Same thing will go for a watch.
No, because watch is up here, and we know that we need to wash our hands up to here. And actually, the minimum requirements is up to here. Up to here. That's the minimum requirement. When you have someone, we don't have much water, but this is something maybe we'll discuss later. Now, listen to this. Nevertheless, this applies only to people who, when engaging in activities such as kneading dough, remove the rings so that they will not become soiled. So, if a woman, before she kneading the dough, she removes all these rings, it means that this is something you don't feel comfortable to use. Also, you do it when you wash hands. Some people, for them, it's going to be almost impossible to remove the ring. They got bigger through the years, and in order to remove the ring now, it's going to be really painful. They're going to had to go to a professional, right? So, what's going to be in this case? Yeah, you have to wash it as is. It become part of your finger, or don't eat till you get skinny. It's going to take a few months. In the meantime, you probably will die. Where did it just disappear? Huh?
It's better not to have ring at all.
For women or for men?
For men.
For men. Okay. I agree with that.
For women
Nevertheless, this applies only to people who, when they engage in activities kneading dough, for example, remove their rings so that they will not become soiled. If the person does not care and keeps the ring on his or her fingers regardless of the work in which he is engaged, it is not necessary to remove it for Netilat Yadayim, even if the ring fits snugly on his finger. If most people in that community do remove their rings when involved in tasks that dirty the ring, then this person must remove his ring, even though he personally does not mind leaving it on his fingers while working. So it's also related to the community you're living in, as you can tell, as you can see. In which case, a woman can wash hands when still have ring on her finger. Ring on her finger, right. If a person never engaged in any activity that necessitates taking off his or her ring, he or she may perform Netilat Yadayim without taking off the ring. This is so even if the ring fits snugly on the finger. Okay, you can guess that the same apply to a very expensive ring, that the woman, she doesn't want to damage the ring, she should remove it before she needs the dough, or before she clean out, whatever, or any activity. It's a sign for you to know, definitely removing it before Netilat Yadayim. Let me maybe conclude with one more halakha, two more halachot, and finish for today. This part. All these rules apply to men who wear rings as well. If he removes it when engaging in certain activities, he must remove it to perform the Netilat Yadayim as well. If, however, he is a man who never engaged in any dirty activity and therefore never removes his ring from his finger, he may perform Netilat Yadayim while wearing his ring also, even if it fits snugly on his finger. If the ring has gemstone set on it, however, he must remove it for Netilat Yadayim, since he certainly will not want the gem to get wet. What if a woman was supposed to remove and she didn't, and she already finished the process of Netilat Yadayim? What's going to be the case?
No problem.
If a woman has tight-fitting ring on her finger and she forgot to remove it when she performed the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim, the washing is invalid and she must dry her hands, remove the ring, and start over again. She must not repeat the blessing, however.
There you go.
Exactly. As mentioned above, even if the ring is loose-fitting, it must be removed in order to perform Netilat Yadayim. If the person did not remove the ring and he poured revi'it of water, which is the 86 cc of water on his hand, all at once, he has fulfilled the mitzvah of Netilat Yadayim. Be'ezrat Hashem, God willing, next week we'll discuss about painters and other workers that do the work. Their hands get dirty with different colors or whatever, some substances. We need to know and learn what we'll do if this is called chatzitza, it's blocking, it's not blocking, and so forth and so on. Questions so far? Anyone? Anyone watch us? Anyone on the Zoom? Somebody? Okay.
Say, for example, if we soiled our hands because we did something for cleaning or something like that, so we wash it and put some soap, and after that, can we do it Netilat Yadayim?
Okay, it's a good question. So I repeat the question. What if I already washed my hands with soap and they're super clean, right?
Yeah, it's clean.
Super clean. Do I need to wash? We learned this halakha before. And the answer is absolutely yes. Because Netilat Yadayim, that doesn't have anything to do with make our hands clean.
Oh,
It's for the purity of to purify the hands. So it's highly recommended to wash hands with soap or any other substance that will clean up the hands, and then do the Netilat Yadayim. Just using soap will not be enough. Any more questions about Netilat Yadayim? So, as I mentioned, from today, Be'ezrat Hashem, we know more and more about this mitzvah. We will do it better and better. Okay? On behalf of Ohev Israel Foundation, I want to thank all the participants. We'll be right back with the second part of the class. God bless you all. I want to wish the Medina's family that hosting this shiur, that this shiur Be'ezrat Hashem will grow, and more people will come closer to Hashem thanks to you as a host. Baruch Hashem, our shiur is growing. People that are here with us and people that are watching us from a distance. Yes? Dean doesn't need anymore. Refuah Shelema for Anna Ben Yardena and every name you want to mention now. Of course, the Murphy's family and all those who are helping. Ohev Israel, of course, Andy and Vicky, and I'm sure the girls are helping as well.
They're watching you right now.
So all those who are helping Ohev Israel, may Hashem bless you with all the berachot. You'll be healthy and wealthy, Be'ezrat Hashem. Amen, amen. Toda rabba. I'll see you in a minute.